If you see a diamond-shaped sign, it will be what type of sign? A. Stop sign. B. Regulatory sign. C. Warning sign. D. Guide sign. If you see a diamond-shaped sign, it will be A. C. Warning sign. You can tell a lot about a road sign just by looking at its shape and color. Diamond-shaped road signs are used for warnings and hazards. They have a yellow background with black symbols or letters. These types of signs communicate upcoming hazards and changes in the road that you'll need to be aware of. You may continue carefully through a yellow light if A. You are still approaching the intersection. B. You are in the intersection when the light changes. C. You are running late. D. You are turning right. You may continue carefully through a yellow light if B. You are in the intersection when the light changes. When the traffic light changes to yellow, that means the light will soon be red and traffic will be moving against you. If you are already in the intersection when the light turns red, you should continue through the intersection. A solid yellow light indicates caution, since the traffic light will be red soon. If you have not entered the intersection and can stop safely, you should do so. Crossbuck signs indicate A. You are approaching an intersection. B. You are approaching a railroad crossing. C. You must come to a complete stop. D. You must yield to other traffic. Crossbuck signs indicate B. You are approaching a railroad crossing. A crossbuck symbol on a road sign is used to communicate that you are approaching a railroad crossing. These signs are typically a yellow circle with a black X design. Two sets of solid double yellow lines that are 2 or more feet apart. A. May be crossed to pass other vehicles. B. May not be crossed. C. May be used to make a U-turn. D. Divide lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. Two sets of double solid yellow lines that are spaced at least 2 feet apart are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. These types of lines essentially represent a barrier that should not be crossed for any reason. In some cases, these lines will have a small, raised median between them. Other times there may not be anything between them. If you are driving next to a set of 2 double solid yellow lines, you may not cross over them to pass, make turns, or for any other reason. When approaching a curve, the best thing to do is A. Slow down before you enter the curve. B. Speed up before you enter the curve. C. To always take the curve at 25 miles per hour. D. Turn on your hazard lights. When approaching a curve, the best thing to do is A. Slow down before you enter the curve. The best thing to do when approaching a curve in the road is to slow down before you enter the curve. This means that you should apply your brakes and begin to reduce your speed before you enter the section of the road that curves. Once you are in the curve, you can accelerate through it as necessary. Taking a curve too fast or braking too hard within the curve can create a dangerous situation. When should you yield your legal right-of-way? A. If it will prevent a collision. B. In a roundabout. C. When you have a green arrow. D. When you are the first to arrive at an intersection. When should you yield your legal right-of-way? A. If it will prevent a collision. Right-of-way rules exist to help traffic, pedestrians, and bicyclists flow in a safe and orderly manner. The law does not grant the right-of-way to anyone, but there are some universal right-of-way rules that drivers are expected to follow. These right-of-way rules are designed to eliminate confusion and hazards when traffic is moving in multiple directions. However, you should always yield your right-of-way if it will help prevent or avoid a collision or hazardous situation. Unless otherwise posted, what is the speed limit in a business area? A. 5 miles per hour. B. 15 miles per hour. C. 25 miles per hour. D. 35 miles per hour. Unless otherwise posted, what is the speed limit in a business area? C. 25 miles per hour. Business districts, like residential areas and school zones, have unique characteristics that can make them more hazardous than driving on the open road. When driving in a business district, obey the speed limit, keep a safe following distance, and scan the road ahead, behind, and to the sides of you for hazards. When can a motorcyclist use a complete traffic lane? A. At all times. B. On roads with 2 or more lanes traveling in the same direction. C. When there are no other vehicles behind them. D. When they are preparing to turn. When can a motorcyclist use a complete traffic lane? A. At all times. Just like passenger vehicles and trucks, motorcycles are entitled to a full lane of traffic at all times. Never drive beside a motorcyclist in the same lane. Motorcycles need to utilize the full lane of traffic in order to place themselves in the safest lane position based on traffic conditions, weather, and road conditions. If you drive too close to a motorcycle, you will take away its escape routes and space cushion and increase the likelihood of a collision. Which is not a factor in determining the distance that it takes to stop your vehicle? A. Perception time. B. Reaction time. C. Braking distance. D. Steering technique. Which is not a factor in determining the distance that it takes to stop your vehicle? D. Steering technique. The total distance required to bring your vehicle to a complete stop depends on your perception time, your reaction time, the physical braking distance. Braking distance does not depend on your steering technique. If your car breaks down, you should A. Get off the road as quickly by changing multiple lanes at once. B. Use your turn signals to carefully exit the road, pull as far off the road as possible, and turn on your hazard lights. C. Stop your vehicle where it is. D. Pull off to the left side of the road. If your car breaks down, you should B. Use your turn signals to carefully exit the road, pull as far off the road as possible, and turn on your hazard lights. Mechanical failures and car trouble can happen at any time. Be it a flat tire, electrical issues, or something wrong with the engine, having your car break down while driving can be a dangerous situation. It is important to know how to handle it as safely as possible. Great job! Here are some of your next steps to getting your learner's permit or driver's license. Read and study the official driver handbook from your state DMV. Take more free practice tests at puedomanejar.com. Gather all your necessary forms and documents before you visit the DMV office. Before you know it, you'll be driving in your very own car all by yourself. puedomanejar.com. Free DMV practice tests and much more to help you pass your real exams. Visit us today.